What's that?
Remember I said to you I wanted to record another conversation with you?
Oh, I didn't know this today.
No, well, it's just doing it in the car.
Because that's where the fancy conversations.
Well, I think
You're in your podcast mode.
No, I'm not. One of my favourite things to do with you, which might sound odd, is to drive to school.
Yeah, mine too.
Because I think we have sort of the best conversations when we're driving to school.
Yeah.
You're listening to Clearly Unfiltered, a regular podcast in which I share unsolicited views and insights, mainly to stay sane, to be honest, and make sense of my own existence. I strive to be authentic and vulnerable and speak about things that matter to me, and I'm amped you're here. Thanks for listening. This episode is the first installment of a 3-part offering I'm calling Neurotypical Bias. You see, as I've reckoned with my own neurodivergence and have had to adjust my approach to parenting since learning of my youngest daughter's autism, I have grown increasingly aware of how much society is geared towards and set up for the ease of neurotypical folk. And as a result, how much judgment exists for people who show up differently in the world. In part 1, I speak with Emily in the car on the way to school. I love the opportunities I have with her on these short trips to wonder about the world together, solve the problems of the universe, and laugh about the silliest things. Welcome to our world.
Okay.
So, Amy, now I'm doing a podcast on neurodiversity and what parents of neurodiverse children want the world to know about their kids. And the focus on the podcast is celebrating the positives, the wonderful things that come along with neurodiversity. How do you feel about me recording an episode like this?
It's cool. I'm happy about it, but also nervous. I don't know why, but it's nice. I like it.
Cool. But now, I wanted to hear from you. Just, if you were able to explain to neurotypical people, or you had to, if there was something that you really wanted neurotypical people to know, what would that be? Maybe about some of the challenges you face, or what it's like to live in your world. What do you think people should know?
Well, there's a lot, but one of the things is, well, for me personally, is that I take a lot of extra explaining for stuff, as you found out yesterday. And some of the neurotypical people don't really get that and get very irritated with me easily when I ask too many questions about stuff. And I feel like they should just be more understanding about, like, that I need more explaining, because I like to, like, almost, like, know something in depth. Yeah, so there's a lot, but it would take, like, forever for me to tell every one of them.
Well, maybe one or two other things. What are some other things that you wish neurotypical people maybe had more understanding, or held more space for you?
Being socially awkward, definitely. Like, if I'm in a big crowd and, like, one of my friends, or just at school and there's a big event, they should understand that I want to go somewhere else, like, quiet and without them, and just walk around the school, and then I'll be fine. But I think some people see that as weird. I don't know, but it's been on my mind. So.
Do you think some people perceive you as rude when you do that, because you just want to be on your own?
Yeah, like, even when I'm at home, like, if I want to eat supper alone, I feel like you guys perceive me, right?
Yeah.
As rude.
So now, I think one of the big challenges in this whole process was that you were only diagnosed like when you were
10. No.
11, turning 12.
Yeah.
So for 11 years you lived in a neurotypical world without really knowing and understanding who you were or being able to fully express who you were. What has it been like to take that mask off now that you've almost been given permission to fully live into who you are? Or are there times where you still feel you need to mask?
So there are definitely times where I do feel like I need to mask, but it's gotten less because I've gotten proud of myself almost. Like, I've spent my whole life being so depressed and masking that I haven't really had any time to be self-conscious of who I am. So it's just a natural kick in. Like, if someone says something rude about me or my mental state, I really don't care. And it's felt really nice to just be myself most of the time, but sometimes I feel like I have to mask. Like, if I meet someone new, like I did this with my friends, like when I first met them, like I would mask and then I would slowly unmask with them, because there's always the thought in the back of my mind, like, will they like me for who I am, or should I just be my masked self? And then after a while I've just realized, if they don't like you for who they are, then they're not a good friend.
And that mask you put on, is that you try to be as neurotypical as possible? Or?
Yeah, because this might sound weird, but I have like, I don't know if you know, but in Japan, in their festivals, they have those, cat masks type things.
Yeah.
I always imagined my mask like that, and I put it on, and then I'm like a totally different person.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like a different personality, but it's neurotypical, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that sounds unfair that you feel pressure to have to fit in rather than people
accepting you
for who you are. Does it feel unfair?
It does. When I do mask, it feels like I almost have to like pretend to be something I'm not, and I don't think anyone should feel like that. And there are a lot of people out there that do mask more than I have, like for their whole lives, and I can see it, and it just makes me like hurt because I know how it feels to constantly mask. And it's just really unfair that's like almost society has put on the pressure for you to be perfect and not neurodiverse and not socially awkward or having panic attacks or anything. And it's really not fair.
What has been really helpful for you in unpacking like who you are and finding the courage to like fully be yourself and to embrace your autism?
Definitely my therapist, but also you guys. You guys have been like my backbone of everything, and like I'm really thankful for you guys because yeah, you're gonna make me cry. You guys have like been there for like almost 2 years now, right? And it's like really cool for me to see like people who are supportive of me and just who I am, because I don't think most parents are like that. I'm not trying to like make an assumption, but I've seen that parents don't necessarily like have time for their kids, and you guys have like dropped everything when I needed to talk to you, and that's really cool.
But it also hasn't always been easy with us, this whole process, has it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you and I in particular, sometimes we
have a bit of a downfall. We
bump heads.
Yeah. So it hasn't been easy, but I've never like almost taken for granted what you've done for me, so I've always felt like insanely guilty after we've like had a fight or something like that, because I'm like, you guys do so much for me, how am I supposed to be fighting with you? But it hasn't been easy, but we've slowly gotten there, so that's really nice.
It's been a process, hasn't it, of working out what works best for you and for us, and having to maybe adjust the way we have typically parented so that it's more supportive of you and your journey, which I think has been a journey for me and Mom as well.
Yeah.
So Thank you for this.
No problem.
I wanted to feature your voice because I speak a little bit about you in the podcast interview I have with this friend of mine from the UK who also has a neurodiverse child, a young boy who's younger than you, and I just felt it was important for people to hear your perspective, because it's easy for us adults to assume what kids are thinking and feeling and how they experience the world, but I think you have such a wonderful way of articulating your experience, and especially in our interactions, I think what I've always appreciated is you've really grown in your ability to help us understand what your needs are at a certain point, and you're able to express that and tell that, and that's helped, I think, me and Mom understand how to be better parents in this situation. So thank you for this extended introduction and your thoughts, which are always so thoughtful and sort of well articulated. You have this wonderful way of saying things, so thank you, Em.
You're welcome. I was happy to help.
Sure, man.
Are you not going to pause it?
No, I'll pause it now. Join me for parts 2 and 3 of this conversation with Nina Griffiths, which will release soon. Thanks for listening to this intro.